Donald Trump has the worst record of job loss of any president. So we just have to make sure people know.
That was a global pandemic.
What's up, guys? Boy Benny. Revenge, betrayal, allies turning on each other. It's all the kind of stuff that makes a great screenplay. Slightly more boring when it comes to polling, but it's true. The polling for Joe Biden is terrible. Look at some of these recent headlines. 4 reasons that the latest polls for Biden are awful from Politico. And look at this image they use of Joe Biden. Look at this picture they have of Joe Biden. So weak, feeble, wearing his no-slip tennis shoes. Look at this guy. Guy looks like the guy looks like formaldehyde. He looks like formaldehyde. You ever been into one of those creepy funerals where they have the open casket and they have like the embalmed corpse? That's what Joe Biden looks like. That's what it looks like. Okay, it's just one aside. The bad polls for President Joe Biden came out one after another this weekend. The Democrats dragged a New York Times Senate poll that showed the president was falling 4 points behind Donald Trump. And it goes on and on and on. What does Politico say? Age and physical mental capacity. Nobody believes that Joe Biden has a brain anymore. The economy is abysmal. America's in shambles. Immigration, everyone hates immigration. Polls show that like now even Latino voters are in favor of mass deportation. And in a head-to-head, Donald Trump wins. And when you add third-party candidates, Donald Trump wins even more. Is Biden on track for defeat? The debate explained. Should we take current polls seriously? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you should. Because every current poll shows Donald Trump winning in every swing state. Joe Biden losing across the country. Potentially in a 100-point electoral defeat. Why Democrats should worry about Biden's polling from CNN. These pictures they use of him. It's so bad. Biden takes press to task over coverage of his poll. Biden takes the press to task. Remember, this version, the Trump era version of this headline would be Trump's attack on the free press. Joe Biden. This entire article is mewling and bitching about Joe Biden and how he's so angry that the press are covering the polls of him losing. He's upset about the polls showing that he's losing across the country. So, ladies and gentlemen, when people show you who they are, believe them, right? Like, they're having a hysterical meltdown right now. They're telling you. They're acting like they're melting down. They're lashing out at the media for any utterance that isn't total salivating praise of Joe Biden. And the meltdown is now officially here. Nancy Pelosi had an apoplectic, seething meltdown on MSNBC, of all places. MSNBC, when asked about the economy, she said that Joe Biden's getting like 1 million trillion new jobs, 1 trillion gajillion new jobs, Nancy Pelosi says. And Katie Tur, who is a left-wing activist, apparatchik, I mean, totally Praetorian Guard for the Democrat Party, is like, well, actually, you know, Donald Trump, those numbers are like from COVID, right? So like we shut down the economy. A bunch of people got furloughed, fired because of COVID. Those aren't actual jobs that Joe Biden created, which of course is true by every metric, by the government's own data. It's true. And Nancy Pelosi had a seething panic attack on air about it. Check it out.
Is doing that, created 9 million jobs in his term in office. Donald Trump has the worst record of job loss of any president. So we just have to make sure people know.
That was a global pandemic.
He had the worst record of any president. We've had other concerns in our country. If you want to be an apologist for Donald Trump, that may be your role, but it ain't mine. And
I
he
don't
has
think
the
that
worst.
Anybody can accuse me of that.
That's why I want the protests on college campuses to go on forever. Let them eat each other. Let it all burn. Let them eat each other. They're in a total civil war. They're losing their minds. All that Katie Tur said there, was COVID happened. And COVID kept the job market deflated because Donald Trump actually had a record jobs market, right? So there's poor little Katie Tur with Nancy Pelosi savaging her and screaming that she's a Trump apologist for saying the truth. How much do these people control the press? I mean, it really is remarkable. Nancy Pelosi, speaking of when somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Nancy Pelosi was standing outside of her house. This is her house. This is the Paul Pelosi Hammer Party house. And Nancy Pelosi gets, I think they're like Gaza Palestinian activists coming up to her. And Nancy Pelosi screams at what I assume to be an Asian protester, go back to China. Now, if Donald Trump had said anything like that, all Donald Trump said is China. Okay? That's all Donald Trump said. And they said he was racist for saying that. Donald Trump had said anything like that, much less, God forbid, to a reporter of Asian descent, then it would be game over, right? But here's Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the Donald Trump, the Democrat Party, Nancy Pelosi, getting away with racism.
Most of your constituents walk beside you. Stop the genocide. Stop the Holocaust.
Democrats want the ceasefire. The Democrats want the ceasefire. The Democrats want the ceasefire.
Go back to China, where you came from. Nancy Pelosi, ladies and gentlemen. She's a wicked lady. She's a wicked lady. Many call her a witch. She acts like a witch. Pelosi accuses MSNBC of being an apologist for Donald Trump. This is, by the way, this is panic time, okay? They see the polls, they see what's going on, and they're freaking out. They've lost the plot, and they've lost control. And that's what leads people like this to melt down, right? And that is exactly what's happening. Nancy Pelosi is officially melting down in real time. The protesters are coming for her, right? This is from inside of San Francisco.
If you do not want to listen, if you do not...
Where were you? Where were you? When we asked? When we asked?
I've never asked.
The panic is real. Come on, Nancy, tell them all to go back to China. That's what you say. It is remarkable. I love the panic. It really is pretty amazing, though, too, because it's like the Frankenstein's monster. The story of Frankenstein is Frankenstein isn't the name of the monster. Frankenstein is the name of the doctor who created the monster, the mad scientist. And he creates the monster and he loses control of it. And then it goes and terrorizes the town and terrorizes him, right? And it destroys everything. Nancy Pelosi got screamed at in Seattle by protesters. And it just doesn't go much better like when she's, again, in her hometown. Here's Nancy Pelosi in San Francisco.
Let me just get you to
Nancy, can you tell us why we have all the $150 billion going to Ukraine? We have homeless on the streets in your own city. Nancy, can I get some stock trading tips on how to get semiconductors in Taiwan? Nancy, why do we? Is your son involved with Hunter Biden?
It doesn't help that Nancy Pelosi is drunk on TV all the time.
When we saved the Affordable Care Act, remember when, yes, he was going to, repeal and replace, but whatever the replace was, nobody ever knew.
Drunk.
We had 10,000 events throughout the country where people came forward and told their stories. Mm-hmm. Nothing more eloquent than that. Certainly more eloquent than the misrepresentation of the president, former occupant of the White House.
Listen to this. Nancy Pelosi making the case for Joe Biden. Remember, everybody hates Joe Biden, okay? The entire world hates Joe Biden. All the polls show it. And Nancy Pelosi making the best case for Joe Biden. The number one reason people hate Joe Biden, this is a very important article. Okay, 4 reasons why the latest polls are awful for Biden. Age and mental capacity. Nancy Pelosi making the case for Joe Biden's mental capacity. Go.
Let me just say I'm not going to spend too much time on Donald Trump's cognitive disorders. But what I am going to say, and I want to, in friendship, say to Chris, he tried to say that Nikki Haley did not allow the National Guard to come, but it was Nancy Pelosi. It was nobody. It was Donald Trump. Well,
I'm just so thankful for these enemies. They're so entertaining. What if there were really smart people in charge? What if there were really smart people in charge? And we had really bright enemies and they could speak the English language. Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, they don't speak English. Cringe Jean-Pierre, they don't speak English. It's a practice in humiliation. So it's, well, it's very, very interesting, actually, to watch and to see, and we are entertained by it every single day. We hope that you follow this channel, like, share, and subscribe to be entertained with us. It's your boy, Benny. See you.